Hey guys, and welcome back. This is part 3 of the UBIK system. The first thing we're going to do, and we're going to do this, I'm just going to show this one time, and basically what you want to do is to repeat this process here when you follow along. So you go to the history here, and you can see there's a UBIK part 3. You want to click that one. And since I'm recording these will be the first ones, or the top one. Other than that, if you wanted to follow along with part 2, then you would click this one, and then you could follow along on this one. But since we are now on part 3, you will click this top one, and then you will have the code that corresponds to this. You might see a number up here where it says pull or fetch, and in case it does, then you just hit pull and usually make sure that it says master here and then pull. In my case, I don't have everything because I'm creating this on the same machine, but for you it might look different. So once you've done that, and then you're actually ready to just open up the project. Okay, so the last thing we ended out with was a controller that was kind of a little bit of a jittery, like this, as you can see here, and it doesn't look really good. So what you wanted to start off with is fix that problem. We're going to do that by going into the VR character, press Ctrl E, and then click the character movement here, and up in the details type orient, and you want to find this setting here called orient rotation to movement, and you want to turn that off. So once you hit play now, when you move around, everything is smooth. With that out of the way, let's create the template for where we're going to put everything. It's going to be inside an actor component, so we're going to create that in the blueprints folder in here. So right click and say new blueprint class and type in select the actor component, UBIK component. So inside our VR character, I'm going to do this inside an actor component. Later on, we might, if I end up doing this as a C++ setup, I might move everything over in a different way. So bear over with me for now. I'm just going to put it in an actor component. So type in UBIK component, and so we have added this. So the general idea is that we're going to put all the logic inside this component here. So the VR character has this UBIK component with all the logic. But for now, we want to do something else. We want to set up a few debug actors, which we will use extensively throughout these videos. And this is mainly because it's kind of a hassle to take the headset on and off. So this is just a little convenience thing. So you want to drag in a sphere like this. Actually, you want to drag in two. So hold down Control and drag to get two of these. And let's rename these to be called a debug, or let's just call it hand left, and the other one hand right. Let's see, we have some grouping in here, I think, lighting, and let's create a folder for this in the map. Create a folder called VRChar. I don't know why I put the cube in there. We're gonna put that in the arena like that. Okay, so now we are well organized. So you want to take these two here and change a few details here. You want to set these to 0.1, 0.0, maybe we just, hang on a sec, lock this one, and then set them to 0.1, like this. So they're kind of small, but still visible. Something like that. We're not going to bother too much by positioning them, but we're going to change a few more things. If we scroll down a little bit here, we can find stuff like collision. We're going to turn that off, so no collision. And we are also going to change this to be movable, so we can move them around. And then we're also going to create a new folder in here called materials. And let's create a very basic material called basic, which is going to be super basic. Let's hold down 3 and click. And convert this to a parameter. Like that. And I guess that's all we need for this one. So we're just going to right click this one, create a material instance, and call this mi left, and then right click and duplicate, call this mi right. Let's open these two up, change the color for the left one to red, and the right one to green. And then we want to assign, this is the left hand. No, this is actually the right hand. Okay, so this is the left hand. Let's put it here. I can't see the mouse. Okay. So left hand, left material. Oops. Like so. And the other one, green. So now we have two debug balls or whatever, and we also actually want one more. We want a head also, so let's I forgot that. Let's just duplicate this one and then rename it to head. And just to make it a little bit more intuitive, let's make it a little bit bigger, 0.15 something. And we want to also create a material instance for this one. Head, something like that. Give it a different color. Let's pick, well, let's just pick white for now. And there we go. So now we have some debug actors that we will use when we test. And the good thing about this is that instead of taking on your headset and then having to test all the time, you can hit simulate, and then we can use these balls here to act as controllers instead. It's just more convenient when you play test something like this, and you have to figure out what is going on. So that's what we're going to use them for. So let's go inside the VR character here, and we're going to create three variables in here. So let's create one here and set this to actor. And then let's call this head debug head. And then make sure to make it visible. And also duplicate this one and duplicate it again. Left hand, debug right hand. Okay. So if you, with the character selected in here, you can now see that we have 3 new variables available here. So select the little eyedropper here for the head and select the white ball. Select for the left hand, select the red ball, and for the right one, select the green ball. So what we're going to do now is to go back inside here and make sure that we can decide whether or not to read the controls from these actors here, or the camera, or the motion controls, which we don't currently have set up. So that's actually something we also should do here. So let's add a component here, motion controller component, and call this left. And let's make sure to parent it to the origin. And duplicate. Right motion controller. So for the left motion controller, it's okay. For the right, we want to change one little thing. Scroll down a little bit, motion source, and make sure it's set to right. So currently we don't have anything showing up. So let's add a little cube for this. Let's call this left cube, and for this one, add a right cube. Just for, whoa, they're really big. Okay, select the left material here, and for the left cube, and let's set that color here, or material. And for the right one, set the right. So we also want to change the scale down quite a bit. So select this one and 0.15 maybe, maybe 0.1, and the other one 0.1. I'm not entirely sure. Okay, that's fine. That's fine for now. So we also want to make sure that if we are in VR, we're gonna get our input from the motion controller, and if we're not, we're gonna get it from these actors here. So we're gonna set up that logic here, and I think I'm gonna put this inside a. I haven't decided really, so we have a reset VR event here. I think I'm gonna put it in here. So yeah, right. So for the left motion controller, we can check if it's tracking or not. It's tracked. And if it's tracked, then we want to use this as the source. Let me think. Right. Actually, we need to do this on well, we could do it differently, but anyway, I'm just thinking how I should do this the best way. So bear with me for a second while I figure out what to do here. You know what? I'm gonna. It's not a matter of performance right now, so I'm gonna move this into a tick event. So we make this check on every tick basically. So it's completely waste of resources, but just so you know, something I will change later on. But for now, it's not a big priority. So anyway, if this is tracking, then we're gonna set a transform. And that transform is going to be a world transform, and which we're going to set on the UBIK component. So this is where it's going to be a little bit blurry, where because it's binding together the VR character and the UBIK component a little bit. I could do this differently, but it's not, again, it's not important at the moment. It can definitely be improved later on. So not right now, let's just ignore it and just do it the simple way. So we're going to make a transform here and call this a head effector and duplicate it and call it a left hand effector, and again right hand effector. It's always a good habit to get into to comment your variables here. So it could be something like head in world space head transform, something like that, and left controller transform in world space, and oops, like so. So if this is tracking, then we want to get the world, get world transform from the left motion controller, and then we want to set the UBIK set left hand effector. Okay, and I think I'm gonna make a sequence out of this. So hold down S and click. So we do this first, no matter what, and then we do the same, sort of. Copy this stuff here, then substitute this one, and make the branch here. Say, is this tracking? If it's tracking, then copy this value here, or variable. So right hand effector. To be this. Okay. And if it's not tracking, then we want to get the debug left hand. It might not be set, so we should be checking if it's set or not first. So let's just do that to be on the safe side. Actually, use this one is valid. So if this one is valid, then set left hand effector to be this one. So here we use the get actor transform instead. Then we just do the same down here. Like so. And we also need to do this for the head as well. So let's just do one more pin here. And actually, I don't exactly know if there's an easy way to check if the head is, the camera is tracking. Is there? Oh. Well, anyway, what I'm just going to do for simplicity is to take these two. If both of these are just one of them are tracking, so this is technically not correct, I know. So let's say if they're both tracking, then we will assume that it's supposed to use the camera. Let's add in a branch, drag that in here, like so. Get the world transform from the camera, and then on the UBIK component, set head effector be equal to that, and if they are not both tracking, then we get the debug hit. Get actor transform, and then copy this part here. Or we could take this one just to save a little space here. As far as I know, it doesn't really matter, so not performance wise at least. It's just a little bit easier to read. So that basically means now that we have a setup for all that stuff here. So let's take all this and collapse this into a function. Call this get transforms. Okay. And comment it. So we type in something like get the transforms from appropriate controllers. And to the UBIK. I don't know, it's definitely not the prettiest way of doing this, but anyway, it's okay for now. So what could we else do here? Actually, you know what? I'm gonna take the left cube and the right cube and dump them on the VR origin. So they're not anymore, they're not attached to the left motion controller or the right motion controller. But instead, what I'm going to do is to set the location or the transform for these two to come from the UBIK components. That means that if the logic is working, then we know it's tracking the correct component actor. Let's see, left hand effector. And I'm just gonna check teleport for this one here. And the right cube we want to get from right hand effector. There we go. So now I'm gonna hit play in what's it called? Simulate, and currently we can't actually see the balls, so they're actually hidden at the moment. So we probably need to take the left cube here and 0.8. 0.08. And the same for the other one, 0.08. So, still not. Oh, wait, I'm setting the transform. Okay, never mind. Let's set them back. Sorry about that. That was a little mistake on my end. We're going to do something else instead. We're going to take these two balls here and we're going to make them a little tiny bit bigger. So 0.15. Oh, that's not going to help because... okay, sorry. I know. We need to set something else instead. We need to set world location and rotation like so. And then we right click and split. And we need a little more space. And drag this to the board. Copy this one. Okay, that should do it. Okay, now they are a little somewhat bigger, but that's perfectly fine. So when we click the ball, we can see we move around with the red box as well. If we then also hit VR preview and click on the headset, oops, we can see the stuff underneath us here maybe. Hello. Okay, so what this means, because now the boxes, they are actually following the hands, and that means that the logic is working. We still have the two old ones, or the debug ones, visible. So I'm just gonna add one last thing to this before we end this video here. It's already gone on for way too long. But that is true. Say if this is tracking, then if this is we're gonna do a branch here. No, we're not. We're gonna take this one and say if this is valid, well, set hidden in game. That's fine. And if it's not tracking, then we will set it to not be hidden. And that means that we're going to duplicate this logic down here and debug right hand and like so, and I think that should be it. So I'm just going to leave that for a moment. Anyway, let's test it out. So we shouldn't see the two colored ones. We do have the white ball. I forgot to do that. Damn it. Anyway, if I turn off my controllers, then they pop down to the, yeah, hopefully you can see that, to the debug ones, and they show up again. But it's not really going to be that important anyway, so just saying. So I'm just going to finish off with this. Okay, there we go. I think that's it. One last test. There's all the tests. So now I'm turning on first one controller. Nothing happens. There's one live, and then both of them should disappear. There we go. So now we have the controls, all the debug boxes following those. That's all I had for this video. So basically what we achieve now is to have some world effector transforms inside the UBIK component, and we have a setup for debugging also in simulate mode, where we can now move these guys around, and this is going to make our life much easier. Okay, thank you for watching, and I will be seeing you in the next. Bye.